Hi, all chess goodies, in, and welcome to day 16 of my journey to top 100 chess players in the world. Yesterday, I lost 2 games, so I dropped down below 2250, which is quite low, and the opposite direction that I wanted to go. But it was mostly because I was really tired. So I got nice positions, but then blundered at the end. So yeah, that's basically it. Today I feel much better, so yeah, let's see if it will be visible in the games as well. So let's head over to 10 minutes. Maybe I could try 10 plus 5, but I'm not really sure because already here there are not that many people playing, you know. If you are following me for a while, you know that sometimes it takes a while to get a pairing. Right now I got it pretty quickly, so that's great, but sometimes it simply takes a while, and in 10 plus 5 it would take even longer, so yeah, that's basically the reason. E5, no, not E5, E4 here, so I think D6 just to defend the pawn and stay solid. Knight F6, I'll go for the setup with G6 and Bishop G7. Also, like knight to C6 is a thing I want to play as well. Knight C6, Knight F6, G6. Wow. Probably not the best idea to refresh. We'll see. Pawn to D4. Okay, so there's a lot of tension now in the center. I might have to switch it up a little bit. Maybe, I mean, I'm not sure. This is a tough position. Always when there's that much tension in the center of the board. It's not easy. Might play dust this way, like bishop e7. That seems somewhat reasonable. Even though if there's an endgame, I might have an isolated e5 pawn, but I would have a lead in development, so I don't think it would be that bad. Okay, so opponent is going for it. Now I'm just wondering whether I wanna keep this knights or not, basically. But I think that I don't want to keep them, right? Although, like, there's maybe some knight jumps to be fun. No, I don't want to keep them. Let's take that with the knight. But again, it seems like I should be reconnecting somehow. So hopefully the stream will be okay. At least, but okay. So apparently it's sort of fine again. But it is poor connection. Now I have a decision. I can take it with the king or with the bishop. I think I'll go with the bishop, just not to lose the right to castle. And now I would expect it takes a... But at the same time, it creates this weakness on e5. And again, hopefully it will be fine for the stream. But this is already the third time, so I'm a bit worried here. Knight f6. Now I will castle as well. I already have nice rook on a semi-open f-file. That's an advantage of the e5 pawn, basically. Usually when you have an isolated pawn in the center, it's the d5 pawn, so yeah, this is a bit unusual, but still quite similar to the usual isolated d pawn. maybe c6 and bishop b6 looks good. I was wondering maybe like bishop e7 and bishop c5, but now I like c6. It restricts the movement of this knight. So I'll use c6 to develop this bishop. Okay, bishop goes to e3. This was also probably the idea of h3, and it was not pawn to g4. So in that case, I might... I want to say that I might want to develop the bishop to c7. Maybe I could go to b6 as well and just trade and get this semi-open a file. It doesn't seem to be that bad, but at the same time, I will not play it. No, maybe should, because the a7 is now hanging, so I cannot move the rook that easily. Hard to evaluate whether to play bishop c7 or bishop to b6, but I already went for bishop c7, so that's okay. Yeah, rook a d1, there it is. And I would like to counter my opponent's rook, or maybe I can, because there is still b6, because the bishop defends, so... Okay, I think it's fine, after all, to counter the rook this way. I'm not 100% sure whether this pawn is untouchable or not, but I think b6 and putting the rook to a8 should trap the bishop, so... Usually these captures are only possible when you have the flank pawn advanced. So after, let's say, bishop takes a7, I would go for b6. And then if you could get the pawn all the way to a5. Okay, interesting. So my opponent is saying that it is indeed possible. Maybe it is because of knight a4. I wanted to say, but I wouldn't be so sure. Although there is quite a problem. So am I gonna win the piece or not? Should get some activity, but if b6, knight to a4, we need to play this. So if b6, trade of rocks would be the way to go, and then knight to a4. Maybe I can do that anyway. Knight takes b6 is possible then. This is not so easy, but I think I gotta go for b6. So I would expect rooks to be traded first. If not, then I should be fine. Probably. Even if I end up down a pawn, I still would have some activity, and I think that the way this might end up is that I will lose the b6 pawn, win the a2 pawn, and have the nice rook on the second rank. But okay, knight to a4 immediately. I'm not really sure about that, so if I take, bishop has to take, otherwise bishop c2 just wins. Or not wins on the spot, but wins material. So that would be great, although like still sacrificing exchange for 2 pawns possible, but you know. That's it. If bishop to c2, rook takes, and then knight takes, and that's not a thing I'm looking for. Is it? No, it's not. So I guess I gotta trade first. Yeah, bishop takes. That makes sense. So now I'm gonna attack. Yeah, now I'm gonna attack the bishop. Yeah, that was the only thing possible, so I'll trade now. And then I can take the pawn on a2. While attacking this pawn, the pawn will be saved. But yeah, it ended up exactly as I was saying, that I lost the b6 pawn for the a2 pawn. But I have the nice rook on the second rank, while this rook is much worse at the moment on f1. Also, the bishop is not really impressive. But okay, how do I take advantage of this? Maybe knight e4. That looks pretty good. Maybe cannot I trap this knight? No, the knight is not trapped. Also c5 is there. But knight f4 frees up the knights. It does. But I think knight e4 looks nice. There is knight d2. Also the pressure to f2 pawn. I do have some counterplay. I do. The perfect next move would be bishop to d3, but that's not really possible. But okay, bishop to g4. I did not expect this move, definitely not. But I guess in this case I'll just trade and then play knight d2 and capture this pawn, even though I'm gonna lose another pawns. I might try to play e4 now. How is he gonna defend this pawn? Maybe like that. Okay, I will capture on b3, but now the pawn is doubled. The one that is up. Okay, I'll just put the rook behind the c pawn and attack it. Rook e8 does nothing, so that's fine. And there is really great thing that I have knight a5 potentially, which would defend this pawn and attack this pawn at the same time. And honestly, I don't play this game for a win anymore. This would be really ambitious. So I'm playing it for a draw. And so far, it seems pretty holdable. Because, well, these two pawns might get traded off and then 3 against 2 on the king side, while these pawns are doubled, so they're not even that great of pawns. Can I play this move now? I think so. Even though there's rook c5, which would defend against both. I think I will just bring the king into the game. That makes sense now. But still, quite some work to be done to get that draw. Okay, g5. I think I'll leave it there as it is for now. Knight d4 looks nice to me. Defends the pawn. Threatens to win this pawn with a fork. Okay, my opponent dodges it. Now let's play knight d6. Is it a good thing to do? Where's the knight? It's always hard. But yeah, let's do that. I gotta move something. But I was always calculating like rook f5 check. Maybe some lines like that, but okay. None of that happens. Let's give a check. King g4 will be played. Yeah, now I will move the rook back to pressure that back up. So I pressure both weaknesses. Knight will land back on d4. Can imagine that is impossible. That's nice thing to see. Okay, I'll get the knight back to d4. Oh wow, am I in a mating net? This is checkmate. And this is pretty bad too, f5. Oh my goodness. I don't want to look at the board. So apparently, the thing that I'm not tired doesn't help. There is nothing else than to take. And then I can try to attack the knight. See what comes out of that. Can pin it. Okay, maybe with more seconds on the clock I could fight it out. But probably not. The position is bad. True is that my opponent is like 2380, which is probably quite stronger opponent that my current level is. You know, apparently, even though I think it's higher, but let's stick with the pawn, but all of this doesn't matter because of the clock once again. I really have no idea what to do about that issue that I simply cannot. Cannot manage my clock nicely in this format. Pin the knight again, but I should probably push the pawn, but okay, 1 second. That's enough. Play one more. Okay, maybe I can get a rematch. Okay, I got another pairing instead. I wanted to get that rematch. Let's see. Okay, we have a French defense. So knight to c3. I'll play this line. Okay, bishop to b4, e5, c5, a3. Now I'm expecting the trade to happen. There it is. Knight to c6, so knight to f3. You, in the French defense as white, you want to put the bishop to d3 and the other bishop to a3 if possible. Those are the two pretty nice squares for the bishops. So I'll get the first one to d3. Okay, I see a trade that can be played, but at the same time, usually black wants to keep the tension there. Wow, there's some sort of a weird trap that I fell for. It really... Oh, maybe it is not. I can capture there. Oh, but there is... Queen c3, wait a second, I'm really confused here. Now I will get something in return, and that is the fact that my opponent has to play bishop d7, so the king is in the center. At the same time, the king is even a bit strong there, I might say. I'll give up the second pawn if my opponent wants to. I think it should be fine in this position. Okay, so my opponent takes it. But now I got some ideas against the king. I really got. So let's start with bringing the rook to b file. But okay, this is just clear attack for 2 sacrificed pawns. There is nothing more, nothing less to it. Is c4 possible to give up another pawn? I would like to make it possible, but I don't think it is at the moment. Rook to e1 though makes sense. Can see the knight is still undeveloped. I'm still gaining tempos. Lining up the attack. So yeah, this will be an interesting game. It definitely will be. But like again, it's unclear who will win. Who has the better position actually, I don't know. I actually see this for the first time. Maybe I played it once. I got caught like this. I can imagine, but I don't remember it at all. Definitely want to play c4. Then maybe check. c4 looks good to start with. Okay, knight e7, so my opponent develops. That makes sense. Because you want to do that at some point. You're gonna have to. So, okay, queen a4 check. Let's see where the king hides. Okay, it doesn't. Knight c6 was played. But now the knight is nicely pinned. I'll take on d5 now. That's the way I think now. I want to see the recapture because both of them look dangerous for black, but at the same time, like maybe it is holdable. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? The engine does, but that's forbidden right now. So okay, there's this pin. I want to put pressure to that knight. So how about